All right, breaking just tonight, ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Devin Nunes of California, has notified the Attorney General he is submitting 8 criminal referrals alleging serious misconduct during the Trump-Russia probe. He joins us now. Congressman, what can you tell us about this? You say in your letter, which I have in front of me, that it is serious. When will we know who and what for?
Well, we don't know if you'll ever know who, but I can tell you that if you follow the Russiagate, Russia hoax closely, if I gave you 7 guesses, you'd probably be able to get the 5 people that we have referred. So there's 5 direct referrals based on lying, obstruction of a congressional investigation, and leaking. We have a global leaks referral, which involves just a few reporters, but could involve multiple people. I don't think it's that many people because I think they probably only have a few sources within these agencies. And then you have conspiracy referrals. One's based on the manipulation of intelligence. The second one is based on FISA abuse and other matters. And so that's where we stand. Those are the 8 referrals. At this point, we're prepared to brief the Attorney General. I'm looking forward to we have a former U.S. Attorney that's now in Congress, John Ratcliffe, who serves on the Intelligence Committee and on the House Intelligence and Judiciary Committee, so he's going to go with me to brief the Attorney General when appropriate.
Let me ask you, we do know from the Newness and the Grassley-Graham memos, for example, let's just stay on FISA, that the bulk of the FISA application, pages 10 to 12, 17 to 34, and the last one in particular, I've been told is important, but the bulk of that information came from Hillary Clinton's bought and paid for, unverified, uncorroborated, not even supported by its author, Russian dossier. That is a fraud before the court, is it not, sir? Conspiracy, even.
Well, Sean, let me make it as clear as I possibly can. Okay, and now that, thank God, we have an Attorney General who calls spying for what it is. In late 2015, early 2016, spying began on the Trump campaign. That information leaked that led to what they considered to be legal spying that they've acknowledged that they'd started doing at the end of July. You just had Carter Page on. They considered that all legal spying. They then leaked that information, right, shortly after the election, all through the spring. That was leaking out. Why? To create a narrative that Donald Trump shouldn't have been president, that he's a Russian asset, et cetera, et cetera. So spying and leaking. Then you have the culmination of the ultimate spying, where you have the FBI director spying on the president, taking notes, illegally leaking those notes of classified information. Why? So they could appoint a special counsel to spy on an acting president again. So there's a lot of spying and a lot of leaking, and I think that's as clear as I can put it.
I won't push any further. I understand. I would ask you often, you obviously had more information than I would say, is there anything that I've said tonight that's wrong? And you often would say no. And I'd ask you the same question, the next question. Am I over the target? Because I want to be right, and I have a lot of sources, and I'm putting pieces of a puzzle together, and sometimes people cannot give me information. I want to ask you specifically about the Hillary Clinton investigation. Now, thanks to Congressman Doug Collins, we now have the closed-door testimony of a lot of people. Nellie Bruce Orr, Peter Strzok, and Lisa Page, and now James Baker, the general counsel, who said the following, described Clinton's behavior as it relates to the server where she had top-secret classified information on it as alarming and appalling, and argued that he thought that she should be charged. And Page and Strzok said, both of them, they had no control over that investigation at all, although Strzok himself did the interview, allowed 2 other people in the interview, which is unheard of, and was writing her exoneration in May before interviewing her in July and exonerating her 3 days later. Comey did that part. Do you believe that that investigation into Hillary was a rigged investigation, and should it begin anew?
Well, look, I don't know that because we didn't look at all that information. But I will say that I don't know how destroying a server that shouldn't have been there in the first place is not obstructing justice. Another important point you talked about
with classified information on it.
We still are waiting on transcripts with classified information on it. But I want to remind the viewers, we still have transcripts from our investigation that are sitting over at the DNI that still have not been declassified. And those need to come out also. That will give a lot more transparency to, I think, everything else that's going along with the transcripts that you're seeing now.
And the last interview I had with the president, he said he would be releasing the FISA applications, the Gang of Eight, the 302 materials. When Americans see that, will they be shocked? And if so, on a scale of 1 to 10, how shocked?
Well, look, what I've said, and I'll say it again, if you thought using dirt from a campaign is bad, you'll think this is equally as bad. If you didn't think it was bad, then you won't care. And now, look, if it would have happened to the other side, they would have really cared.
Great point. All right, Congressman, thank you so much for being with us. We'll follow this closely.